Exploration versus Imperialism by Ashley and Allie. During the time of exploration, expansion and imperialism were two of the most important things, and they ran the entire world.
Expansion by the Europeans occurred for many reasons. They hoped to gain a lot of wealth. When they would explore, traders were able to find new and faster routes to Asia. Europeans were hoping that by expanding, they could spread Christianity throughout the entire world. All of this exploration led to tons of nationalism. The world was opened up for the explorers. New crops were introduced from one land to another. Many native people died because they had no control over the European diseases that explorers and crews brought with them. The Europeans were not only looking for land, they also wanted Asian spices, African ivory, and gold. Europeans mapped out lands that they found that were new to them. Some of the most famous explorers were Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan. This expansion was possible because of the new technologies that came out of the Renaissance. Navigation and shipbuilding were two things that helped Europeans explore more, and without the Renaissance, that wouldn't have existed.
Many of the world's greatest powers became desperate for land and wealth. They knew they wanted these things, and they would do anything in their power to gain it. A lot of people during the time of imperialism were very selfish. Imperialism is what runs the economic, political, and cultural life over other nations or countries. Also, there was some political discussion of new imperialism. Some Europeans invaded harbors and islands to make trade easier. Other Europeans had religious goals and thought that they had to spread Christianity into certain countries.
In order to expand, you need land. Getting land made nations compete against one another. Nations needed a lot of supplies to fight. This was very apparent with the country Boer. They discovered gold, so many nations wanted it. There was a war over it where Britain's history was totally turned around. They won the war and did terrible things, like putting Africans in concentration camps. Is expansion justifiable? Expansion is not justifiable, because in the process of expanding, many native people were killed. Britain and other powerful nations went and took land that didn't belong to them. The only way expansion can possibly be justifiable is if it doesn't hurt anyone else in the process, which if you think about it, may be impossible.
Out of the two, we believe exploration is better. Exploration is all about gaining new discoveries and new ways to find wealth. Everyone would try to find faster trade routes, better resources, new land, and find people to trade things with. For imperialism, people can completely change and become really selfish. When it comes to what they want, things can get ugly fast. Between the two, exploration had a higher cost. The cost was higher for exploration because to expand and get more land meant having your army go out and battle for it. The explorers had gained many new lands, so that means many lives of others were lost. Losing lives to get land is a very high cost. Also, with all the living expenses, such as shelter, food, and weapons, added up very quickly for the amount of men that were there.
This is a primary source showing an angelic woman spreading destiny across the land.
This is how the Europeans thought expansion would be like.
It's freaking so loud, you're just like, ding.